the second part of all of this is something called the lowest common multiple, or the least common multiple. And there's something here that you can read, but you can write it down if you want as well. The least common multiple, or lowest common multiple. But I'm just going to underline here. What we use lowest common multiple when we end up finding or adding fractions and finding a common denominator. But the best way to describe it is to just take a look at an example. So greatest common factor, which we did before, which would require factor trees and us circling pairs. We're actually going to do that again, but I'll first start off by showing you what a least common multiple is. So if we take 3, for example, and we said, well, there's 3, and then you can kind of add 3 to that. So 6. So 6 is a multiple of 3. And then you could do 9, because 3 times 3 is 9. And 12, 3 times 4 is 12. So you can see here we're doing multiples of 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. That's a multiple of 3. It's 5 times that much. 18. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. And you kind of list out all of these multiples. It would go on forever. And then we have 5. And so we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And it would go on forever as well. And the idea would be, well, these are all the multiples, but which one do they have in common? What's the lowest or least one that they have in common? So I would say, well, 15 and 15. Those are, 15 is a multiple of 3, but 15 is also a multiple of 5. So they're a common multiple, and it's the lowest one. 30 would be the next one. So if I had continued up here with 3, 21, 24, 27, 30, ... There is another multiple here, but it's not the least common one. The least one is 15. Now, there is a way to do this using prime factors. When I was doing all of this stuff, we would literally just list out all of these numbers, and then we would list them out here, and it would take forever, and then we'd try to find the common one, assuming we didn't make a mistake. But there actually is a way to do that, and it starts by finding the greatest common factor. We do everything exactly the same. So we start with 6 and 8. These are the two numbers. And now when we did the greatest common factor, we would break this down to 2 and 3. And 8 is 2, 2, and 2. And we would list it out. 6, 8. So we have a 2 and a 3 and a 2, 2, and 2. And then we would say, okay, well, where are your pairs? Okay, there's a pair. That is your greatest common factor. But now we're doing lowest common multiple. So we do all of that stuff. And you take your greatest common factor, which in this case was 2, and then you just multiply it by all of your other leftovers. So 3, 2, and 2. So we're going to multiply that by the 3, the 2, and the 2. So I have the GCF, the greatest common factor, which is 2, and then 3, 2, and 2. So that's going to be 6, 4. 6 times 4 is 24. So we're saying that if you list all the multiples of 6, so 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, and you list all the multiples of 8, 8, 16, 24, 32, that 24 is the first one that we'll get to that they're going to have in common. Now notice we didn't make any list at all, and that's really good because making a list for these larger numbers when we get there will take an incredible amount of time. And this way we can just take the GCF that we did in the last section and multiply it by all the leftovers, and then we're kind of done. So let's take a look at 12 and 16. So 12 is going to be 4 times 3, which is 2, 2, and 3. 16 is 4 times 4, which is 2, 2, and that's also a 2 and a 2. So I like to list it out, 12 and 16. Now 12 was the 2, 2, and 3. 2, 2, 3. And then 16 was the 2, 2, 2, 2. So 4 of them. First thing I like to do is do your GCF. So there's a pair of 2's and a pair of 2's, so my GCF is 4. And then we can multiply it by all the leftovers. So times it by the 3, 2, and 2. Now 4 times 3 here is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 24 times 2 is 48. So if we listed out all the numbers of 12, 12, 24, 36, 48, and 16, 16, 32, 48, 48 would be the first one that would be common. Okay, let's keep going here. 24, give yourself a little bit more room here. 24 and 60. So 24 is going to be 8 times 3. And 8, I like that as a 2, 2, and 2. And then that can go to a 3. 60 is going to be 6 times 10. 6 is 2 times 3. And 10 is 2 times 5. So I can now that I've broken these up, I can just kind of write them in a list. 24 is 2, 2, 2, 3. So 3 of these 2's, and then a 3. And 60 is 2 2's, a 3, and a 5. 2 2's, a 3, and a 5. So my GCF, which I'm not asked for at the time, but we need it here, is 2 times 2 times 3. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. So if I asked you for the GCF, we would say the biggest number that can be divided by is 12. But if I ask you what's the lowest common multiple, you say, well, it's 12 times any of these leftovers, which is a 2 and a 5. Now, 2 and a 5 is 10. 10 times 12 is 120. So we're already getting to some numbers that are a little bit larger. Okay, 70. 70 and 105. Now, I thought we already... Did we already do 70 and 105? Just for the sake of just taking a look. Look at that. 70 and 105. I already did that. So 70 is a 2, 5, and 7. And 105 is a 3, 5, and 7. So I'll leave this up here for you to copy. Just if you want to pause that part. There's the 70 and the 105. If you want to take a look. And here we are now. 70 was a 2, 3, and 105. And 7, or something like that. 2, no, what is it? 3, 5, and 7? So that's I think it's a 2, 5, and 7 is how that all ends up breaking down. And the 105, when you do your tree, is a 3, 5, and 7. So how to do lowest common multiple of these? Well, let's write out our list. 2, 5, and 7, and then 3, 5, and 7. Our GCF, which was the last stuff, is 5 times 7, which is 35. But then we have some leftovers here, 2 times 3. So we can multiply it by 2 times 3. 35 times 2 is 70. 7 times 3 is 21, and then there's the E, so the 210. So 210. That is, again, that's 35 times 6. And if you did that, you would get 210. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 3 is 18, 19, 20, 21. So that does end up working if you need to do long multiplication. So our lowest common multiple is 210. So that's how you do that. We're going to then do in the last video, how do we do lowest common multiples when there's 3 numbers, which is a little bit more complicated, but you do the exact same thing, just one extra little step at the end.